Ever found yourself confused by a woman's sudden silence, a mixed signal, or a shift in energy you just couldn't explain? You're not alone. But what if I told you there are 10 core emotional vulnerabilities many women share? And once you understand them, your relationships will never feel like a guessing game again. Men often enter relationships with bold intentions, but little understanding of the hidden emotional terrain they're stepping into. Just like men, women possess unique strengths, but they also carry vulnerabilities, many of which are shaped by experience, culture, and emotional wiring. And if you're a man guided by Stoic wisdom, your role isn't to control or fix these weaknesses. It's to recognize them, respond with clarity, and remain composed. No matter the emotional climate, that's what sets you apart. In this video, we'll uncover the 10 most common emotional challenges women face. Not to judge, but to understand. Because awareness builds connection, and from that connection, trust, peace, and respect can grow. So let's dive into the first one. 1. Fear of rejection. Rejection cuts everyone, but for many women it runs deeper than you might think. While a man might respond to rejection with frustration, humor, or outward detachment, a woman is more likely to internalize it, quietly overanalyzing every detail, doubting herself, and replaying what went wrong. Why does this happen? Many women are raised in environments where their self-worth is tied to how others respond to them. From early praise for being nice, pretty, or well-behaved, to adult validation through social attention or relationships, approval becomes a silent metric of their value. So when rejection shows up, whether in love, in the workplace, or even among friends, it doesn't just sting in the moment. It echoes years of uncertainty, emotional wounds, and societal pressure. Think about it. How often have you seen someone replay conversations in her mind, asking herself what she could have done differently? This internal loop can last not just hours, but days or weeks. That fear is why some women hesitate to speak up about what they feel, why they avoid initiating or being vulnerable. To them, no doesn't just mean denial, it means unworthiness. And this is exactly where Stoic presence matters. As a Stoic man, your role is not to dismiss her reaction, but to meet it with calm, clarity, and compassion. Rejection doesn't have to be harsh. It can be firm, honest, and gentle when you understand what's beneath the surface. And that, my friend, is the first key to building stronger, wiser, more grounded relationships. In the previous section, we uncovered how fear of rejection can silently shape a woman's behavior. Now let's take that insight one step further, because behind that fear often lies another deeply rooted challenge: overthinking and self-doubt. Calm presence. Overreaction. As a man walking the Stoic path, your role isn't to exploit this emotional vulnerability. It's not about leveraging her sensitivity to gain control or superiority. It's about doing something far more powerful, recognizing that fear and insecurity are shared human experiences, and responding with patience, presence, and a sense of calm leadership. So how do you respond when you notice hesitation or withdrawal? First, practice patience. If she seems reserved, guarded, or slow to open up, realize this may not be about you. It could be about the emotional baggage she's still healing from, moments in her past when vulnerability led to pain. Instead of pressuring her to be more open or emotionally available on your timeline, prove through your consistency, in words and in actions, that you're safe, stable, and trustworthy. Consistency is security. Second, when you notice her questioning herself or fearing she's done something wrong, offer gentle but genuine reassurance. She may ask questions like, "Did I say something weird? Do you think I sounded stupid? Was I too much?" In those moments, you don't need grand speeches. You need truth spoken with calm confidence. Try responses like, "You're overthinking. Really, it was fine. What matters is that you showed up." That takes strength. "I appreciate you just being real with me." These small affirmations may seem simple, but they offer emotional oxygen to someone stuck in their own mental spiral. Lead by example. Rejection is not the end. Lastly, one of the most powerful things you can do, lead by example. Show her what it looks like to handle rejection or emotional challenges with grace and stoic resilience. Let her see, through your own behavior, that rejection doesn't break you and it doesn't define your worth. It's simply information, feedback, a temporary discomfort that never touches the core of who you are. When you model that kind of composure, you don't just impress her, you inspire her. You help her believe she can be just as emotionally grounded and strong. Calm empathy builds trust. Remember, emotional connection isn't built through intensity, it's built through presence, through kindness paired with clarity, and calmness paired with empathy. When you understand a woman's fear of rejection and her tendency to overthink, and you respond without judgment or frustration, you don't just earn her trust, you help her see herself through a new lens, one of strength, growth, and quiet confidence. Overthinking and self-doubt. Have you ever said something completely casual, only to watch it spiral into hours of introspection on her end? Stay with me. We're about to unpack why overthinking is such a common emotional pattern for women and how you, as a stoic man, can respond to it without getting pulled into the chaos. Now that we've uncovered how the fear of rejection subtly influences behavior, let's take a closer look at what often follows behind it, a relentless pattern of overthinking and self-doubt. Have you ever seen someone completely unravel emotionally, not because of what was said, but because of how it was said? A casual disagreement, a delayed reply, or even a vague "we'll see" can trigger an emotional spiral. And suddenly a woman who seemed confident is questioning everything. This is where overthinking comes in. For many women, it's not just a habit, it's a coping mechanism deeply linked to their desire for emotional security and clarity. But when clarity isn't available, the mind fills in the blanks, often in the harshest, most self-critical way possible. Picture this. She texts a friend after a rough day at work, sharing something vulnerable. The friend replies with, "Oh, that's tough." Most people might shrug that off. But she starts wondering, did I overshare? Am I being dramatic? Should I have just kept it to myself? That's the power of overthinking. It takes a pebble and turns it into an avalanche. It's exhausting, not just for her, but for anyone who loves her. Your role as a stoic man. This is where your stoic mindset becomes more than philosophy. It becomes a gift. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to be her anchor, calm, grounded, and present. So how can you help her through moments of mental spiral? Step 1. Recognize the signs without judgment. Overthinkers often seek constant reassurance. You might hear things like, "Are you mad at me? Was that the wrong thing to say? Did I do something wrong?" Instead of brushing it off, pause and acknowledge her concern. Try saying, "I can tell this is on your mind. Let's talk it through." This alone makes her feel seen and not judged for feeling too much. Step 2, ground her in reality. Don't join the spiral. When she's lost in a maze of what ifs, it's tempting to follow her deeper into speculation. Don't. Instead, bring her focus back to facts. If she's worried a friend is upset over a vague text, respond with something like, "If something was really wrong, they'd say it." Until then, don't stress yourself out. You're not dismissing her emotions. You're reminding her that not everything has to mean something. Step 3. Be clear. Clarity is your superpower. One of the best things you can offer in moments of emotional turbulence is clear, honest communication. No ambiguity. No, it's fine when it's really not. If she asks, "Did I upset you earlier?" Don't wave it off. Say something real and direct. "Not at all. I was just quiet because I had something else on my mind." A sentence like that, it can save her from hours of self-blame. Step 4. Teach the power of response over control. When emotions cool down, you can gently share Stoic wisdom. Not as advice, but as a mindset. Say things like, "We can't control how people respond to us, only how we respond back." Worrying doesn't change outcomes. It just steals your peace. Over time, these seeds will take root, and slowly she'll learn that it's not her job to read between the lines. It's her power to remain steady despite the uncertainty. As a Stoic man, your strength lies not in fixing every doubt she has, but in being the calm presence that helps her find her center. Overthinking can be a heavy burden, but with patience, emotional clarity, and consistent reassurance, you help her turn spirals into stillness and self-doubt into self-trust. Once you help her shift from overthinking to clarity, something beautiful begins to happen. Trust deepens. But with that trust, another dynamic often arises: emotional dependency. Let's talk about it. Emotional dependency. Have you ever noticed how many women crave emotional connection in a relationship, not as a luxury, but as a need? This isn't weakness, it's wiring. It's biology, psychology, and lived experience all rolled into one truth. When a woman trusts you, she bonds deeply. That bond, over time, can evolve into emotional dependency, where you become her safe place, her emotional anchor, her sounding board. Now at first glance, this might feel overwhelming. You may wonder, is this too much pressure? Am I losing my freedom? Do I now have to carry her emotional weight along with mine? Here's where most men make the mistake. They pull away. They mistake her emotional dependency for neediness or control. But what they're missing is this. Emotional dependency is often a sign of deep trust. It means she feels safe enough to be vulnerable. She's handing you the keys to her inner world, asking not for rescue, but for presence. The Stoic response: support, not sacrifice. So how do you respond as a Stoic man? With balance, with boundaries, and with a quiet strength that says, "I see you, I'm here, and I'll walk beside you, not in front of you, not behind you." Stoicism doesn't teach you to detach from others. It teaches you how to engage without losing yourself. When a woman is emotionally dependent, she's not asking for you to fix everything. She's asking for a partner who will listen without rushing to solve, offer perspective without dismissing emotion, stay steady when she feels shaken. Let's be clear, this is not about catering to every emotion. It's about recognizing what's behind the emotion and responding with compassion, not control. Beware of losing yourself. Here's where many men fall off track. They try to be the hero, saying yes to everything, suppressing their own needs, becoming emotionally available 24/7. And what happens? They burn out. They become resentful. The connection starts to feel like a weight, not a gift. That's not stoicism. That's self-sacrifice. Stay grounded. Stay you. The Stoic man understands that emotional support does not mean emotional surrender. It means being steady, clear, present. Think of it like standing beside a friend during a storm, not holding an umbrella over her forever, but helping her build her own. And when the storm passes, she'll remember who stood quietly by her side, without judgment, without ego, just strength. Emotional dependency is not a burden when you approach it with empathy, boundaries, and wisdom. It's a chance to strengthen the connection without losing yourself. Support her, but never abandon your center. Because the man who knows how to be present without becoming consumed is the man who builds lasting, healthy, meaningful relationships. We've seen how emotional dependency, when nurtured with presence and boundaries, can actually deepen a relationship. But the real art lies in maintaining this emotional connection without falling into extremes, either neglecting yourself or overextending. Let's now explore how to handle emotional dependency the Stoic way with clarity, composure, and strength. How to handle emotional dependency the Stoic way 1. Stay present without being consumed. When she opens up emotionally, your first job isn't to fix, it's to listen. Not the kind of passive listening where you just nod and wait for your turn to speak, but the kind of listening where she feels seen and understood. Validate her feelings without absorbing them as your own. You can say things like, "I get why that upset you," or "That makes sense, thanks for telling me." Pair this empathy with calm, clear reassurance, two traits that define the Stoic man. This shows her that you're emotionally available, but not emotionally entangled. 2. Encourage her independence. Strong relationships aren't built on emotional reliance, they're built on mutual strength. If she's anxious or unsure, don't always rush in with answers. Instead, gently redirect her back to her own inner strength. Try, "I really trust your judgment on this," or "You've handled worse. You've got this." It might seem small, but these words remind her that she isn't powerless. You're not her solution. You're her mirror, reflecting back her capability. 3. Guard your emotional energy. Even with love, you can't pour from an empty cup. Emotional support is noble, but not if it depletes your sense of self. Make it a priority to recharge. Take walks alone. Journal your thoughts. Connect with your passions and friends outside the relationship. The more whole you are on your own, the more stable you'll be in partnership. That's strength. She'll feel it and respect it. 4. Set clear boundaries. With respect, boundaries don't create distance. They create structure. If you need space after a long day, don't disappear. Communicate with clarity and kindness. Say, "I want to give you my full attention, but I need 30 minutes to clear my head first." This doesn't push her away. It builds trust. She learns that you don't avoid her. You respect her enough to be honest about your needs. The Stoic mindset. Respect over dependency. Stoicism teaches us that unchecked emotional dependency can quietly tip a relationship into imbalance. One partner starts caring too much, the other loses their sense of self. But when approached with emotional maturity and mindful leadership, emotional dependency transforms into trust, into mutual growth, into a partnership that's both tender and resilient. Remember, you're not there to solve all her problems. You're there to walk beside her calmly, honestly, and with unwavering strength. When a man is emotionally grounded yet present, he becomes more than just a romantic partner. He becomes a pillar of strength. But even the strongest bonds can be shaken if we don't know how to handle one of the most delicate dynamics in any relationship: criticism. 4th, sensitivity to criticism. Let's face it, nobody enjoys being criticized. But for many women, especially those in emotionally invested relationships, criticism can cut deeper than we realize. You might see it as a simple suggestion or a harmless observation, but for her, it can land like a personal attack. Why? Because often criticism touches something raw, something rooted in insecurity, past experiences, or the silent pressure to always be enough. And when that criticism comes from someone she deeply cares about, you, it can feel even more intense. Understanding the root, it's not just what you say, it's what she hears. Even well-meaning feedback can trigger self-doubt. A casual comment like, "You forgot to grab that again," might be heard as, "You're careless. You can't do anything right. You've disappointed me." But here's the truth. Sensitivity to criticism isn't weakness. It's a signal of how much your opinion matters to her. And once you understand that, you can approach criticism with stoic strength and emotional intelligence. The Stoic way, feedback without destruction. As a Stoic, your goal isn't to avoid conflict or tiptoe around hard truths. Your goal is to deliver truth with discipline, clarity, and compassion without compromising respect. So how do you do that? Let's imagine a moment when you feel the urge to correct something. Your instinct might be to say, "You always forget to do this," or "Why can't you just follow through?" But those words, even if true, can sound like accusations. And once someone feels attacked, they stop hearing your message and start defending their ego. Try this instead. Lead with understanding. Begin by checking your tone and your intention, then speak from a place of shared purpose. For example, "Hey, I noticed this came up again. I know you've got a lot on your plate. Want to talk through how we can fix it together?" Or, "I want to bring something up, not because I'm mad, but because I know we're better when we're honest with each other." See the difference? You're not blaming. You're inviting collaboration. You're not criticizing her identity. You're addressing a behavior with empathy and emotional maturity. Why it matters women aren't fragile, but they are tuned in deeply to how they're seen and spoken to. When you approach criticism with stoic composure, you show that you respect her feelings, trust her maturity, and value the relationship more than being right. And what do you gain in return? A partner who feels safe enough to grow with you, not shrink around you. Criticism doesn't have to be destructive. When done the Stoic way, it becomes a tool for connection, not conflict. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to tear down to lead. You just need calm clarity and a little compassion. We've seen how the delivery of criticism can make or break a moment of communication. Now let's take it one step further. What happens when that feedback is met with an emotional response? This is where your Stoic training is truly tested. Responding with grace. The Stoic way to handle emotional reactions. Imagine this. You've just shared some honest, well-intended feedback. You were careful with your tone. You even softened it with kindness. But suddenly, she shuts down, or maybe she pushes back, eyes wide with emotion. Now what? Your instinct might be to get defensive, to double down, or maybe to retreat altogether and avoid the subject. But here's the truth. This is the moment that matters most. Your calm is the anchor. Let's say she becomes upset or seems hurt. Instead of reacting with frustration or withdrawing into silence, pause, breathe, then respond with composed clarity. You might say, "I know this may be hard to hear, and I didn't mean to hurt you. My intention is to grow with you, not to tear you down. How can we talk through this together?" This approach does two powerful things. One, it validates her emotions. She feels seen, not dismissed. Two, it restates your intention. You're not attacking her character, you're addressing a shared concern. And that, right there, builds trust instead of walls. Why criticism can hit so deep? Let's dive into the why behind her response. For many women, criticism, no matter how gentle, can unintentionally challenge a core desire to feel recognized, valued, and appreciated. Even small critiques can feel like they're pulling the rug out from under years of effort, especially if they come from someone whose opinion matters most. You. That's why your delivery matters just as much as your message. From defense to dialogue, when a woman reacts emotionally to criticism, she's often not trying to escalate conflict. She's trying to protect something tender, her sense of self-worth. As a Stoic, your job isn't to match her defensiveness with more sharpness. It's to stand firm without being forceful and stay open without becoming reactive. Remember, her emotions aren't the enemy. They're an invitation to be a better communicator, a more grounded partner. The power of composure, stoicism, isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about understanding your emotions and choosing how you respond. So instead of shutting her down when she becomes upset, offer this. I see that this has upset you, and I want to understand why. Can we talk through it? This creates a bridge instead of a wall, a space for honesty, not judgment. What Stoicism teaches us about criticism. The Stoic man doesn't avoid difficult conversations. He doesn't sugarcoat truth to make it palatable, but he also doesn't weaponize honesty. Instead, he leads with intention. He speaks with clarity. And above all, he listens with humility. Criticism can either divide or deepen your bond. When offered with compassion and received with grace, it becomes a path toward mutual growth. And when you stay grounded while emotions rise, you prove not only your strength, but your worth as a partner. Handling criticism with care, calm, and compassion builds trust. But trust doesn't flourish on feedback alone. At the heart of most relationships lies something even more foundational, a woman's deep desire for emotional and life security. The desire for security, a deeper need than you think. Have you ever asked yourself why women value security so deeply? It's not just about material stability or financial comfort, though those play a role. It's about emotional safety. It's about knowing that when life gets hard, the person beside her won't fall apart. For many women, security equals peace, and that peace is found in your consistency, your emotional resilience, in the strength of your presence, especially when things go wrong. Why security matters so much? Think about her day. She might be juggling expectations from work, dealing with social dynamics, or managing family responsibilities. And while she may seem composed on the outside, her inner world might feel like it's spinning. In moments like these, she's not looking for a perfect man. She's not even looking for someone to solve every problem. She's looking for a man who stays steady in the storm. Someone whose calm energy says, you don't have to carry it all alone. This isn't about becoming her savior. It's about becoming her anchor. The Stoic advantage: calm, collected, and grounded. Here's where the principles of Stoicism shine. A Stoic man doesn't chase chaos. He doesn't overreact or fall into emotional extremes. He listens. He reflects. He responds with clarity, not confusion. And this steady presence provides one of the most powerful forms of security a woman can experience. Practical ways to offer security. So how can you, as a Stoic, meet this emotional need with strength and intention? 1. Show consistency in action and word. If you say you're going to do something, follow through. That reliability tells her, I'm here. You can count on me. Even small actions, texting when you say you will, keeping your word, build a powerful emotional foundation. 2. Stay emotionally regulated. When problems arise, whether it's an argument, a stressful day, or a crisis, don't let emotions hijack the moment. Stay composed. Take a breath. Speak slowly. Your calm becomes contagious. 3. Be transparent about plans and intentions. Uncertainty breeds anxiety. When you keep her informed, you ease her mind. Letting her in on what you're thinking, planning, or prioritizing helps her feel safe and included, not left guessing. 4. Create a safe space for vulnerability. Security also means emotional safety. Let her speak freely without fear of being judged, rushed, or dismissed. Your job isn't always to fix. Sometimes it's just to listen. Security isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. A woman doesn't expect you to have all the answers, but she needs to know that when things fall apart, you won't. And here's the truth. You don't need to be rich, brilliant, or endlessly romantic to make her feel secure. You just need to be present, solid, steady. When you become the kind of man who brings peace into a room instead of tension, when your presence calms her nervous system rather than activates it, you become more than a partner. You become her safe place. That, more than charm or wit or wealth, is what truly wins trust and keeps love alive. Emotional security isn't just a need, it's a foundation. And the man who can offer that through his presence, his values, and his consistency, that man becomes irreplaceable. Strength isn't loud, it's steady. Let's be clear, this isn't about impressing her with luxury cars or designer watches. True security doesn't sparkle, it soothes. It's the kind of strength you don't have to announce, because people feel it. A stoic man knows this. He doesn't need to control the room or dominate the conversation to prove his worth. His calm demeanor, his thoughtful actions, his measured responses, they speak louder than any flex ever could. When the world feels uncertain, he becomes the calm in the storm. He holds the line, not just for himself, but for those he loves. Reliability is rare. That's why it's so valuable. Think about it. A man who keeps his word even when it's inconvenient, who shows up when it matters, who handles problems without blaming, panicking, or shutting down. That man is communicating something powerful without saying a word. You can count on me. And that kind of presence, it builds trust, the kind of trust that feels like peace. Financial stability, it's not about wealth. It's about wisdom. Let's talk about financial security for a moment. This isn't about being rich. It's about being responsible. A stoic man doesn't waste money to impress others. He avoids impulsive spending, plans for the future, and lives with intention. That stability, that foresight, it tells a woman, I'm not just here for today. I'm building for tomorrow. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. Because no woman wants to walk into a future built on financial chaos. She wants to walk beside a man who's laying bricks, not burning cash. Consistency greater than control. Here's a truth every man should remember. Real strength doesn't demand, it inspires. A stoic man doesn't manipulate, guilt, or overpower to feel secure. He leads with consistency in his tone, his actions, and his values. And that consistency, it's what creates space for her to relax, to trust, and to open up. Trust, more than anything, is the bedrock of emotional safety. And when you become the kind of man who offers it, not just once, but over time, you become someone she can truly build with. The wisdom behind these 10 weaknesses. So what happens when you begin to understand these emotional patterns? These soft spots that society often misunderstands or overlooks. You gain more than just insight. You gain connection. Real, lasting, meaningful connection. Instead of reacting, you respond with intention. Instead of confusion, you move with clarity. Instead of frustration, you lead with patience. That's the Stoic way. Your calm creates her confidence. Stoicism reminds us that relationships aren't about control. They're about understanding. Understanding her fears, her habits, her emotional needs, without judgment. And when you meet those needs with quiet strength, you help her grow, you grow yourself, and together you build something that doesn't just survive, it thrives. If this insight resonated with you, if you found wisdom here that you want to carry forward into your relationships, subscribe for more content that goes deeper. Drop a comment and type "keep it up" to let us know you're growing with us. And if you're ready to continue your journey, watch the next video, where we dive even further into Stoic strategies for emotional mastery and connection.